Well, hello and welcome to couteau, knife you don't need, a division of wooden, what you don't need. And today we are going to have a look not at one particular knife, but we are going to,
And when I say we,
I mean me am going to talk about a handle material. And in fact, I am going to talk about olive wood as a material for knife handles. I have three knives here with a wooden handle, and the wood used for the handle is olive. And what I have here is an Opinel knife. This is a number 6. This is the smallest Opinel size with a locking mechanism, as you can see. And this number 6, I think this has not been used for a while. In fact, the blade is quite hard to open. And so I will show you a trick. And the trick to open a stuck Opinel blade is that of the le coup. Written C-O-U-P, the hit. So you just hit this part of the handle on a hard surface. Could be like this. And as you can see, the tip of the knife has come out, and now it is much easier to pull the blade out. As you can see, some food has been cut with this knife, and therefore the debris coming from the food has accumulated somewhere between the blade and the handle, thus making it for a harder opening of the knife. This is your Opinel with olive wood handle. Manche en olivier, olive wood. And can you see that the wood grain of olive wood is so varied and it changes so much in a very tiny piece of wood like is this one. Look at this. Look at these darker lines in the pattern that forms here. Plus you have the lighter brown background. I think this makes for a very beautiful and unique handle. Normally when you take two handles made of olive wood, or even two small artifacts or items made of olive wood, they will always be very different one from the other. The grain of the wood will be so very different from one piece to the other that every piece is unique. There's this knife by the brand, as you can see from the box, Maserin. If this is the first review you have seen, please know that I am very ill in that I do not only keep the boxes of my knives, but I also wrap them in transparent plastic. This knife must be at least 20 years old, and this is one that I have used almost zero. I have almost never used this one. I do like this knife, traditional design with a wooden olive wood handle. The steel of this blade is 440A, so the lower quality of 440 steel. If you want me to do a review on this one, I will gladly do so, but this episode is only to have a look at different grains of olive wood. Can you see that this is more on the orange side maybe, and this Opinel on the other hand, which is a bit newer, is lighter in color. And then our third knife today is this one. As you can see, I did not wrap this box in transparent plastic, and it's only because it has a lid, and it was hard for me to wrap it. This is a traditional French knife. You can see the story of the knife here. This locking knife in the kind of knife is London. It is traditional of Brittany in the north of France. Is made in the French city of Thiers. And you can check out my other videos in which I show knives that I bought in the town of Thiers in France. If you want me to review this knife, just go on and tell me in the comments below. But here you can see that the handle, the manche, is in bois noble d'olivier, in the made with the noble wood of olive wood. Have a look at this. This is yet another shade of olive wood. Can you see that it's so different, and that the grain on this one, maybe this one has the most peculiar grain of them all. Can you see that here it's all curled up, whereas here it has a more straight pattern. And this is not a locking knife, and this is one of my knives with a spring which is the hardest. This is not one of the. This one is the hardest to open, and you will see also the hardest one to close. In fact, I'm always a bit afraid when I have to close it all the way down, because to get to the 90-degree position, it's always very hard, and I'm always afraid that I could cut my fingers. Now, as you can see from the blade of this knife, even though we're talking about olive wood, let me just digress for a minute. This was a sailor, or this still is, a sailor knife. And the reason why it has this kind of sheep's foot, or it does not have a pointy blade, I've heard two stories about it. One is that being used by sailors if they were cutting some rope or something when the ship or the boat was swinging up and down, and maybe the knife could fall and puncture the feet of the sailor, or they could cut themselves. And the other reason that I've heard is that sailors used, and maybe still do, used to get into fights very frequently, and to have a knife with a pointy blade would increase the likelihood of them committing murder. And I don't know, if you're a French person and you're listening to this, or if you're a knife expert and you're listening to this, can you tell me which one of these theses is the most correct? Either way, look at the olive wood on this one, and look at the olive wood on the Opinel knife. Beautiful grain. These dark stripes are just beautiful. This one has more of a subdued pattern, but still you can see here on the back of the handle that you have some darker grain, and then after that there's the lighter wood. I like olive wood. It feels warm, it feels alive, it feels different in a way. And what about you? What is your favorite wood for a knife handle? You tell me in the comments, and I'll see you on the next of couteau knife you don't need. A division of
wooden what you don't need. Ciao.